Morning and welcome to News Desk with me, Bernice Abubedulansa. Coming up this hour, double trouble for residents in and around Sogakope as Ghana Grid Company cuts power due to flooding in the area. More as NSMQ says it's begun distributing relief items to affected residents. We'll take you live to the affected communities for updates. And Parliament's ad hoc committee looking into the alleged plot to oust the IGP says it will not be rushed into hasty or shoddy work as it concludes its investigation. There is more as the committee members are currently subjecting to scrutiny evidence presented by witnesses. And later, we take a look at how eye care influences work and productivity as we commemorate World Sight Day today. We've got these and more here in this hour-long bulletin. Thanks for your company. Details in a moment. We are live on DSTV, Go TV, on your digital television because we are free to air and around the world at myjoyonline.com. Now, there's double trouble for residents of Sogakope and adjoining communities as the Ghana Grid Company, GRIDCo, has cut power amid flooding in the area. An ongoing spillage of the Akosombo dams has led to severe flooding in several communities along the Volta River. GRIDCo announced in a statement on Wednesday that it shut down its substation in Sogakope due to flooding and for the safety of residents. We'll check on the current state of affairs, but first listen to Deputy Director General of NSMQ, Seji Saji Amedonu, who says the organization has begun distributing relief items in the area.
The information from VRA indicates that this situation might persist for about a week or two. The inflows are heavy now, and they think that in about a week or two, they will have reduced the spillage. Because the situation is still unfolding, our team, that is our district staff, are still going on with the assessment. But as we speak, we have relief items in those districts now. At least 7 those people who have been moved to safe haven.
Meanwhile, Member of Parliament for South Tong, Kwabla Mensah Woyome, has called on government to release the MP's Common Fund to enable him provide some relief items to affected residents.
The districts did not have anything. The assembly itself is strapped, and this is when I think I have to call on the central government to release the common fund to enable some of these interventions to be carried out. And so it's a problem that we think needs all to just come put hands on the floors and see how they can also assist in one way or the other, especially the vulnerable.
Let me now take you to some of the affected communities where power supply has been cut. Benjamin Entry is the Volta Regional ECG PRO. He joins us on the phone with more. Good morning to you, Mr. Entry. Thanks for your company. Now, how many communities have been affected by this power cut? Hello, Mr. Entry. If you can hear me and kindly unmute your device, how many communities have been affected by this cut in power supply? Apologies for that. We seem to have a technical challenge with our network there in region. Mr. Entry, who speaks for the ECG in the Volta region. If you just joined us, the news is that while some communities in the Volta region are grappling with flooding issues, they've also had to be without power after the Ghana Grid Company cut power supply due to flooding at a substation. Now we've been joined by PRO of the ECG, Benjamin Entry. Good morning to you, Mr. Entry. Hopefully we can hear you clearly now. How many communities have been affected by the power cut?
A very good morning to you, and then a very good morning to your cherished viewers as well, our cherished customers. Well, as we speak, parts of the Central Tongu district, notably Adidome, Biakpa, Oveji, Yokutipo, Mafichapo, these are the notable communities that are still off. It will be recalled that yesterday we shut down the Sogakope box supply point as a result of flooding, which was caused by the spillage of the Akosombo Dam. So we had to shut down the box supply point for safety reasons. So yesterday we shut down the substation around 10 o'clock, hoping that by 5 o'clock, the situation will improve such that the water situation over there will be receding. But when we went back in the evening around 6, realized that the water was rather rising instead of receding. So as a company, we've come up with alternative supply routes to supply most of our customers. It will be recalled that when we issued the statement, communities that were off included Akachi, Abo, Keta, Sogakope, Adidome, and Ngoga. By yesterday, we were able to supply most of our customers from the Aflao box supply points. So as we speak, customers in Akachi, Abo, and Ngoga are having power supply. Then again, this morning, in fact, late last night, we were able to also restore power supply to most of our customers within the Sogakope township. That includes the Sogakope district hospital as well. You know, we are wheeling power all the way from Aflao to Sogakope. So definitely, if we don't manage the load very well, they might experience some power fluctuations as well as low voltage. So in doing the load transfer, we are considering these two factors as well. So this morning, as we speak, only Adidome and parts of the Central Tongu district areas are off. But even with that, our engineers, together with GRIDCo engineers, are making alternative supply route to supply them from either Keta or Drapo. Because last night we tried from the Asekwe box supply point, we were unable to do so. We tried from the whole box supply point, we were unable to do so. So this morning we are looking at trying from Keta or the Drapo feeder as well.
And now, are you able to give us an estimation of how long these people have to wait before they get power?
Well, Ben, to be honest with you, we were hoping that yesterday the water will be receding, but until the water recedes, we cannot supply customers from the Sogakope box supply point for safety reasons. So when we went back, we realized that the water level is rather rising. Even this morning, when we checked, it's even rising, that it has gotten to almost where we've installed the outdoor.
Mr. Entry, sorry to interject. I'm talking about the alternative routes you're trying to establish through Keta and Dropong. That's what I'm asking about. How long will it take for you to finish those works?
Okay, so as we speak, it's only those customers within the Central Tongu district, that's the Adidome, Biakpa, Mafichapo areas there. So for those customers, as I speak, our engineers, together with GRIDCo engineers, are on site. We tried from late last night, we tried from OBSP. It couldn't work. We tried from Asekwe. But we are hoping that by close of day today, we'll pick from the Japon and then Keta as well. But you see, in picking it, we can even give them power supply during the day. But when it gets to the night, during the peak hours, if we are not careful, the load might be more than the maximum threshold of the transformer or the feeder supplying that area. So we are taking into consideration all this so that we'll have a permanent transfer instead of a temporal transfer, whereby during the day they are having light, then the night they are not having light. So we hope that by close of day today, we'll be able to connect them to the Japon as well as the Keta feeder as well.
There's another concern, though, about whether it is even safe for some of these communities that have been badly flooded to still have electricity supplied to them. Because in some of the videos we are seeing, the water is beyond the waist level. What is usually the practice for the ECG during such emergencies when you have a lot of areas flooded? Is it ideal to still be supplying power?
So if you look at the areas that we have supplied so far, that's the Sogakope Township, Keta, Akachi, but those areas have not been deeply affected like the areas across the Sogakope, like the Mepe areas, the Sope areas, the Chapo areas, not those areas. So what we are looking at in areas whereby the water has even gone above the waist level, we have gone around there. So I think this morning our Sogakope district went around with our vehicles with a PA system. ensuring that if you have any weak cable over there, kindly notify us for us to replace it immediately. Because if the cable is live and then it falls into the water, that is where we'll have a challenge over there. So we have advised all customers, especially areas where you know that the water has gotten into your room, your business or anything. When we even restore power supply, do not turn on your gadgets, because though only you have been affected, we need to supply them. Because when you go to Adidome like this, the Central District Hospital also needs power supply because there are patients over there. So we cannot say because one or two, or should I say some households have been affected, we will not energize the line. But in doing so, we've added safety precautions to it. We've gone around the communities, we've engaged the assembly members of these electoral areas and also some chiefs and opinion leaders to ensure that if power has been restored to your area and then there is water in your room, please do not energize your power, because it is better to be safe than to be sorry. So we've engaged some of the community members as well. And even as we speak, our Sogakope district is doing the ongoing education. But areas whereby the flood has not affected that much, once we restore power supply, in adhering to safety protocols, we'll advise that even if you are going to turn on the power, make sure that you are not closer to any rushing water into the area. And then again, make sure that your poles are well treated, because some of these service connection cables that we've seen from customers, the poles carrying these service connection cables have a lot to be discussed, but we've replaced most of them as we speak. So what we are advising to our customers is that if you know there is water rushing towards your area, though if restore power supply, please do not turn on your power. But even in doing so, make sure you are there to all the necessary safety protocols, i.e. not walking in the water barefooted without slippers or shoe or anything. Even if it's advisable, get the quality boots to wear and then walk through the streams as well. So the education is ongoing in the areas, but like I said, it's a gradual restoration such that communities that have been affected badly will not be affected or be worse off after we restore power supply.
I mean, it's early days yet, but do you expect that there will have to be a lot of work done at the substation, considering the level of flooding there?
Well, I think yesterday when we went to Cycle, we left site around 7 o'clock p.m. because we were hoping that the water will recede. But before we left there, it was gained momentum. Even this morning when we went there, it has even gained momentum. So yes, as Riley said, there will be a lot of work to be done after the water leave, because we need to assess damages as well in terms of the control room. That's what we are hoping, that the substation will not be submerged after the spillage is down. So we are just hoping that the control spillage announced will be there to such that at least we can manage the situation. But yes, like Riley said, even when the water recedes, we need to assess to ensure that we clean all the cables, the bars, and so that when we energize, the one going to energize the power will not be electrocuted. So yes, we'll consider all safety measures and then do a lot of groundworks before we ensure that it is safe, before we energize the substation. So that's why we are saying that until the water has been, the water recedes totally, and then we do the necessary safety measures, we are not going to supply customers from the Sogakope box supply point. But then again, that is not the only box supply point we have in the Refinery. That is why we've made alternative routes from Aplao. We're also looking at the Japon feeder coming in from the Pond box supply point as well.
Right. Ivy Setsuji is our woman in the Volta region. She'll be giving us updates shortly. But before you go, finally, Mr. Entry, what has the VRA been telling you? Are you expecting more water, or you'd expect that the water levels will recede? What kind of communication are you receiving from the VRA, if there's any at all?
Well, I think from what we've received from them, the spillage is not done. Like, they're not done with the spillage yet. So it means that we should anticipate that the water levels might go high, because if you look at the pressure coming in, because what is happening is that there is a channel that water flows through to the Lake Volta. But this time around is the reverse that is happening, such that the Lake Volta is flowing onto the land at a faster pace. So we expect that the water level might go high, but we are just hoping that though they are saying the spillage is ongoing, they might finish in no time. So the communication we have received from them is that they are not done with the spillage, but it's just a control spillage that they are still undertaking. But then again, we are also anticipating that the water level is not going to recede either today or tomorrow. That is why we have made the alternative supply routes. But it is important to state that we humbly apologize to all affected customers for the inconvenience that the shutdown has caused. It is not our doing, or when we are not happy we have done this, but we are just doing this for safety reasons to ensure that we protect lives and property. But once again, on behalf of the company, we'd like to apologize for any inconvenience that this shutdown has caused.
Thank you very much. That's Benjamin Entry, Volta Regional PRO of the ECG. Let's speak to Ivy Setsuji now. Hello, Ivy. So this is getting worse by the day. You've visited some communities. Tell us the communities you've been visiting and what exactly has been happening there.
Currently I'm in Sogakope, Bakpa, in the central zone where residents are displaced. Most of them are homeless. We are in the residence of the assemblyman here, and we see women especially trying to get some of their properties out to a higher ground. That's at the other side of the river bank. And so the whole community is flooded. Some of the houses are submerged into the water as we speak. So we are trying to get the assemblyman speak. The Togbe for the area also is here to talk to us. It's sad. It's a very sad situation. Residents are still bringing out their things. I can see a resident bringing his mattress from the other place. And canoe actually. So it's difficult to do the stream, and you have to cross by the canoe. So we will speak with the Togbe to also give us details. So what has been happening?
Thank you. It's the flood. The flood is displacing my people very seriously. This place is an island. This thing happened in the 60 years ago, and now it's unfortunately we are not expecting this situation, but it has been. But there's nothing we could do that will equate our people to a safer ground. Yeah, that is happening.
Okay, let's stick with the assemblyman. So how are you able to handle this situation? We see a lot of people from your house bringing out their properties.
Oh, okay. This situation happened for some 2-3 days now. We are managing the situation. NADMO was here, VRA was here. We did not receive any help from them yet. We are hoping that we will get something from them, at least to support our people by the crossing of the river and their food and all those things, because everybody become homeless. So currently we are here. Sogakope is here. Matralo, the third of the traditional area, is here to support us. Yesterday he was here with us, crossed a lot of people with his boat and their vehicle to their video destination. We have a lot of people in his home, which was a very great one, of course. We are very thankful to Sogakope Matralo of the traditional area. Today, this morning, he was here with us to support us, convey some of the items.
So currently, where are the people going?
And they are going to Bakpa Town.
Okay.
Bakpa, yeah, they are going to Bakpa. Yeah, they are going to Bakpa.
Okay, so we have a resident here to tell us what.
Yes, I'm a resident of Bakpa Avadiokome. The situation is very devastating. In fact, houses have been submerged. People's businesses have been brought to a halt. People come to buy nuts and things from here to take to Japan to go and process. All those ones have been submerged. We think that not much has been done by the state and the relevant stakeholders to help the situation, because the situation was known to them before the spillage. They knew that the current and the water levels was very high and was not the usual one. So they should have made provisions to settle the people. We believe that if there was to be effective collaboration, the Ghana Armed Forces has what it takes to resettle the people. We believe that NADMO should have, in disaster management, the first option is disaster prevention. We don't wait for the harm to be caused for the disaster to happen before you come and manage. That is not how the disaster is supposed to be managed. And so they saw the risk and they knew this was going to happen when the dam is being saved. But they did nothing. They took no action. So I believe that it's a little reckless and irresponsible on the part of the GRA and the various duty bearers, including the government.
All right, so those are the people of the community, including the Manklalo. So we'll get more people to take it.
That's Ivy Setoji bringing us the very latest from a community in the Volta region, an island community we understand that has been badly affected by the spillage of the Akosombo and dams. We'll keep our eyes on this rather disturbing situation that keeps getting worse by the day. The people in many of the communities we've spoken to have called on NADMO to, as a matter of urgency, reach out to them. There are also persons who've called for a more nationalistic approach since many communities have been affected, farmlands destroyed, and lives and properties at risk. Now, away from that to Parliament's ad hoc committee looking into the alleged plot to oust the IGP's chairman, Samuel Atachia, says no one can push the committee to hurriedly do a shoddy job in its investigations. This follows the committee's indefinite suspension of the in-camera hearing, with witnesses and committee members subjecting the evidence in their possession to scrutiny as a report is finalized. Mr. Atachia, however, indicated that if it becomes necessary for the committee to invite residual witnesses, it will do so, while insisting he's not abusing his powers.
It's not going to be protracted because right now we need to look at the evidence and most probably start writing our reports, unless there are residual matters that we inform them. If there are residual matters that we later discover after reading the evidence in cold print and also listening to the audio. We are going to listen to the audio tomorrow. All the members of the committee have been summoned here to come and listen to the audio and listen to it attentively. So now we begin to internalize what was said. Then we'll make our decisions.
So the IGP wasn't here. Was there a reason for his absence?
Alain is not well. That's what they said.
So tomorrow, it is only the committee members that are going to scrutinize the documents before you?
Precisely.
And when are we looking at the next sitting?
Well, depending on what will come out of what we call our interrogation of the matters, we'll take a quality decision. If it is relevant that we call somebody back, we'll call the person back.
Will you meet your timelines?
I don't know that we can be hurried into doing something shoddy, because people will begin to say that we did a shoddy job. So far as I'm concerned, nobody can talk about timelines when justice is concerned.
Chairman, are you not abusing your powers?
At all. We are being meticulous and fair.
It is supposed to be an inquisitorial, probe. Is it the case that you are still asking for additional evidence, or you've closed that window?
I'm not asking for any additional. I was asking them, the witnesses, giving them the space to go and reflect on what they said. That would you want to add anything to what you said? That is a generous person, is that not so?
This is News Desk with me, Bernice Abubeidu-Lansa. Now, disaster looms at the Tema Oil Refinery tour as the main petroleum pipelines leading into the refinery face potential danger due to the erosion of a storm drain and a collapsing first wall that directly protects the pipelines. The concerned Ghanaian is demanding immediate action to avert a disaster. There's more in the following report.
This is the tunnel serving as the primary passage for all petroleum pipelines into the Tema Oil Refinery. Years of erosion have caused significant cracks in the tunnel, impacting the fence wall with deep fissures, posing the potential of it falling onto the pipelines. As a temporary measure, a metallic receptor has been constructed on the pipeline. However, a concerned citizen, Walter Seho, who has witnessed floodwaters around the pipeline, insists that immediate action is necessary to prevent a national disaster.
I saw water gushing in this very drainage, gushing, almost touching touching the pipelines. Then I realized this is a disaster in waiting. I said to myself, no, if a crack wall, a fence wall like this, imagine there's a fuel being transported in these pipelines and it's broken. How will Ghana look like? It will break the pipeline, and if there's fuel being transported into Tor, it will gush, and this may spread around this area, and there are people cooking around this area, people doing gas welding around this area. There may be a disaster, and that Ghana cannot even withstand it. This has been here for many years. The crack wall, not today. If you go to them, they will lie to you that they are doing something about it. But this has been here for many years. And this pipeline have to be raised like this very one that has been raised maybe 4 or 5 feet above this drainage, so that when the water is coming, the current cannot sweep this pipeline for it to be broken, for us to have disaster. Pulling this work can start today. For some time now, it's been raining every day. We don't know when a disaster may happen. So they can start pulling the wall today. Pulling this wall, they can do it today, tomorrow. We shouldn't wait for a disaster to happen.
Reacting to these concerns, the Public Relations Officer of the Tema Oil Refinery, Matilda Frempa, said some remedial steps have already begun and that the situation will be resolved.
This issue came to our attention about a year ago, and it's been on the table. We meet at operational meetings, and we had the maintenance team aware, and they took the proactive steps, knowing the danger it could pose. And the proactive steps taken is that the well has been reconstructed 2 meters inside the refinery. So what we see actually out here is what might, portray to people that we have broken or the walls have holes in it. But the walls have been reconstructed. In no time, these ones will be demolished and we'll see the work that has been done. The long-term solution, well, when this came to our attention, we realized that the whole issue has to do with the main municipal drain, which serves the entire community. So we've taken the steps to inform the TMA, which is the municipal for this area, about finding lasting solution, which is constructing a new municipal drain, so that this issue does not persist. What we see out here will be demolished in no time. The pipelines we see, they're all protected. Already there's been a metal plate that has been constructed, just in case we are not able to demolish right now. If it should fall, it's going to fall on the metal and it's not going to affect the pipelines.
The pipelines you see behind me are very crucial to the nation because they are responsible for the transfer of petroleum products, including liquefied petroleum gas, from the main harbor at the jetty all the way into the Tema Oil Refinery. If the fence wall falls on these pipelines, your guess will be as good as mine. And it's for this reason that the Tema Oil Refinery is being called upon to, as a matter of urgency, take drastic measures to avert any disaster. Reporting from Tema Oil Refinery, my name is Carlos Galoni for JoyNews.
Thanks for staying here on News Desk. Now, World Sight Day is marked on the second Thursday of October annually. The theme for this year is Love Your Eyes at Work. There's a primary focus on raising awareness about safeguarding vision in the workplace, and also an advice to employers and leaders in the working world to prioritize the eye health of their employees. If you're in the corporate sector or even run a personal business which requires you to constantly redocument or do things that affect your eye, how much attention are you paying to your sight to maintain a good and healthy one? Joining us in the studio to provide more on this is Dr. Augustine Derry, an optometrist with Third Eye Care and Vision Center. Thank you so much, Doc.
Hi, thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you.
And before we talk about the solutions to the many eye problems we get as a result of the work that we do, top of your head, what jobs do you think expose people's eyes the most to danger?
That's quite an interesting question because, there are lots of jobs flying up in my head. Different sorts of jobs give different kinds of exposure and different kinds of problems. There are some jobs that seem like they are high risk, like those in the mining sites, those at the sawmills and all. But have we also considered those that look serene, nothing flying, but radiations moving around?
Right.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a difficulty. Depends on the target site of injury that we are looking at. So, yeah.
So basically, everybody who works is at risk of having a problem with their eye. So whether you are looking at the screen 24/7, or whether you are chipping at stones or welding,
or cooking or
even cooking. So I just wanted us to establish the fact that we are all at risk.
Yes.
And so everybody needs to pay attention. But let's narrow the conversation to the workplace and the fact that people must pay attention to their eyes.
Yeah. Well, when you reason why this year we are looking at the workplaces, that we realize that people spend most of their time, their living time, at work, trying to make a living. And if there are injuries that are going to occur, a lot of them will occur at the workplace. And usually because we are focused on tasks, we do not give our mind to maybe the various hazards and dangers that may be around. So just as we do every year, World Sight Day, which was instituted to actually help sensitize us on preventing blindness, avoidable causes of blindness. This year, we are really looking at the eye. We want to look at what employers can do, what employees can do, what we can collectively do to ensure eye health safety at the workplace. Yeah.
Now, that's the big question. What do we do?
Good. So if you look at employers, for example, employers have a big burden. If you employ someone, it's your responsibility to also make sure that the working environment of the person is safe, is serene, is conducive for the work that he's doing. You need to also make sure that every hazard is taken care of. What I usually recommend for employers, number one, make sure that we have enough training for the people regarding eye health and eye care, specific to the place that you work, specific to your job. There are eye doctors around that can help out with this occupational optometry, ophthalmologists there. We can help you, advise you on what to do at your workplaces, the do's and don'ts. So you get us there, and also safety, occupational safety experts. After that, another thing I advise employers to do is to have a sort of, should I say, a policy-like document, something that you run through concerning eye health. Make sure that you have PPEs, personal protective equipment. So depending on what work you do or what firm you run, goggles, spectacles, goggles, the environment, any other. There are sometimes you need face shields and not, the usual goggles. Other times you even need what we call the respirators. Of course, that will not be common. That one is the one that, you cover the whole face.
Entire face.
Yes, because if you are going to a place where there's lots of dust, lots of chemicals, you would need to just cover everything, make sure that the person is healthy. And then you make sure that every employee knows where these things are. So, and then put in something like maybe a first aid box or something.
Right.
So whenever anything happens, we know exactly where the things are. Then training on what to do when any hazard occurs at work. We should all be on the same page regarding what should be done. So if someone has, say, in a sawmill or in some metal work factory, this example will be a bit
graphic.
Yes. Something pierces, like wood pierces the eyeball. What exactly are we going to do? If you don't know what to do, we'll all be shouting in confusion, panicking, and it's not going to help the situation. So you need the experts to help you out in all of those. I would outline just a few things about that anyway. Following that, the employers. And I think that employers in Ghana, some are really doing well, but others can do better. You can put in, especially if your place is a place where you have high risk particles flying, you are using chemicals, you are, such that the eyes are exposed. Try and get some sort of a package, eye care package for your people. Yes, it will be a very good thing. I mean, it shows that you have concern for the workplace. If there are barriers that you can erect to some of these dangers that fly in, flying particles and all that, do that, and then that will be helpful. Then the employees. As for employees, what I'll say first of all is that the eyes are not in your employer's head. They are in yours. So you'd have to make sure that you own your own eye safety. Make sure that you are responsible for your own eyes. Sometimes employers will provide PPEs and then employees will not wear them. And that becomes a problem. Sometimes the PPEs are there. Even the employers themselves, they are not disciplined. A typical example, I had a man walking and he had some metal chips, about 1, 2, 3, 4 of them stuck in his eye. Yeah, and we had to remove that. So this was the story. His worker was working. He was walking into the workshop, and he did not wear the goggles. He just thought he was passing through. Somebody was working, did not see him behind, and he was grinding metal. So he just came in as he put on the machine, and then he got a good spray. So that's a very dangerous situation that could have just been avoided by wearing your goggles or wearing whatever protective equipment that you have. Yes, so employees must do well. Then there's a part where we have to both do it.
Right.
The employer may provide, but he is not using the machine that you are using. He is not experiencing it the way you are. Feedback must be sought. Experts must be brought in as well. So if some of the things that you have are broken or they are expired or they are not in the best of condition, you need to make sure that they are replaced. So there should be someone who would do this reporting, or the employee would do that. You should also make sure that if somebody gets hurt at the place, you should quickly, promptly report. If your tools are not working the way you want, and now I'll zoom into the screens, because for most of us, the corporate setting, we use the screens a lot. Even in a manufacturing setting, most of the things are becoming automated.
Right.
So screens are becoming more popular.
Right. So I think that we've largely spoken about, the industries, the people who do a lot of the aggressive things that we naturally would expect to worry the eye.
Yeah.
But for many people who sit in offices and don't do these technical jobs, what is the problem with what we also do and the exposure to our eyes? I'm a journalist. Someone may be, say, an HR executive watching us. What should we know about how we are hurting our eyes at work?
The interesting thing is that, one, the eyes work with light. The kind of light that enters your eye, the kind of light that the ambient lighting around. So you have to have good lighting around. You have to have good lighting from the laptop or the PC or any visual display unit that you are using, or it may hurt your eyes. And apart from that, even the angle, say the laptop, that's an okay angle.
What I have here is good?
Yes. Okay. That's an
What
okay.
about this?
No, that you may be bending a little.
Okay, what about this?
And that's
too much.
Yes,
so
that's too much. This is just appropriate.
Right.
Just appropriate. Because it should be like this or up to 45 degrees.
Okay.
Thereabouts. Shouldn't be too high, shouldn't be too low as well, or else you end up with other problems apart from your eye problem, the back.
Right.
And from these screens, we have a lot of what we call the blue light.
Blue light, yes.
That comes out. Blue light, from studies, they show that they can make you uncomfortable. They actually affect your productivity at work. Imagine you're a banker. Blue light is high energy light, and it gets into the eye, can give you eye fatigue quickly. You are typing in 80 what, and you're a banker and you get tired. You just type in a lot of different things. So whilst employers may think that it's not too important, it may cost you quite.
So in that scenario, how do I protect my eyes from the blue light? And also, if I'm in an office space that doesn't have, good lighting, and maybe my employers are not willing to, or they don't even have the knowledge to say that, the lighting is not too good for our eyes. How do I take the personal initiative?
If your employer is around, you should call him to come and listen to us. He needs to have good lighting for you. He can't be paying you and giving you a problem in the end. That's not fair. Right. So if you have the screens, one of the things you can do is you can get blue light protective glasses just to help you feel better when you are using the laptop. In fact, you should actually check your eyes, because there's some of the problems that are not because of the blue light, but because your eyes actually are straining. So when we check your eyes, we tell you, your eyes are fine, but maybe you need blue light for protection because you are at the PC a lot. That's fine. Number two, something as little as even the environment, like the AC, can affect your eyes and your productivity. Yes. If the place, I like that look. If the place, it's very cold, chilled, you realize that your eyes start to burn. They start to dry out. dry eyes, fatigue. They also cause loss of productivity in the office. That's one. Back to the screen. Apart from the blue light, luckily we have a lot of these screens that now are programmed. You can change the settings to. There are some they call eye care, some call blue light.
Even for the phones, you can dim it a bit in the night for night vision and all that.
Yes, but if you find yourself dimming the light a lot and more than your colleagues, please, it's not normal.
You have to get your eyes checked.
You have to get checked.
How often should we check? I mean, go to see you for a checkup.
I hear this every time, and it's a good question. I'm glad it's asked. You should see your optometrist every year, if possible, just to check. Not because you have a problem. Maybe if someone talk about glasses are usually changed maybe after at most every 2 years. Right. But every year, especially for those between like 20 to 50 years thereabouts, every year is good. Sorry, let me take that again. 20 to 50 every year, but if you do 2 years, that's fine. But the younger ones should even do the every year more. Now, what a lot of people do not know is that for the younger people, those the babies, in Ghana, we feel like babies are aliens to eye clinics.
Right.
Yes, a baby cannot. No, you should check your baby. Within the first 6 months of life, you should have had an eye exam for your child.
Hey.
Yes.
First what?
6 months.
6 months?
Yes, it's very important because there are a lot of problems that are developmental. The child may not have been born with it. But because you did not do certain things right, certain problems or the development doesn't go very well. So the first 6 months, we should see your child. Then we say, okay, everything looks fine. Then later, every year just pass by, and that's fine. And then if you are in the older, or let me say the senior citizens, you should also do well because a stitch in time will save 9 other stitches, from occurring. So that's very important. You should make sure that you are checking your eyes often.
Wow.
Yes.
Thank you so much for the insights. Dr. Augustine Derry is an optometrist with the Third Eye Care and Vision Center. And you should pay him a visit, honestly, because for those of you who think that you're not so vulnerable, we've learned a lot today, even about how your air condition or the light in your office can affect your eyes. And so you just want to keep your eyes safe. And I heard someone say that, I mean, for other conditions, sometimes there are ways around it, but do we do eye transplants? That's extreme.
That's very extreme.
So the eye is very important.
Well, we do some parts transplants, like the cornea. The cornea is a transparent in front of the dark.
Right.
Yeah, we do corneal transplant.
But basically, the eye is very precious, and you need to protect it.
The eye takes the majority of the brain. It takes like majority of the brain processing is from the eye, like eye to brain.
Wow.
And they're about the optic nerve here, optic nerve there. There are cables, about 1.5 million fibers from this eye, from that eye. How are we going to transplant that? We can't even connect them one to the other. That's
a big deal.
So you should take care of your eyes.
Yes, and so you need to see Doc for more information. Thank you so much, Doc, for staying and giving us all these insights. Now, we'll stay on health because Chief Executive Officer of the Bahas Foundation, a mental health-friendly organization, Ilyasu Baba, has called for empathy and love to be shown towards persons living with mental health conditions. Speaking at the commemoration of the World Mental Health Day in Wa, he urged all of us to be empathetic to the cause of mental health patients in order to bring them closer. JoyNews Upper West regional correspondent Rafiq Salam reports.
In the Upper West region, the day was celebrated with a local team, women-led advocacy for mental health and justice for abused children. It was spearheaded by mental health-centered non-governmental organization, Bahas Foundation. As a result of that, several women groups in the region, including chiefs, queen mothers, hairdressers, dressmakers, weavers, joined 24 mental challenged persons for this year's celebration of the Mental Health Day. Ilyasu Baba is the Chief Executive Officer of Bahas Foundation.
Yeah, I want to see the mental ill back into the society. That's why I bring a lot of people together to mix with them, and they'll feel that we are one. Sarafik, and then you and him, Seydou Santana, the mental ill chairperson. So I want people to know that in Upper West here, we have a sympathy, we have a love for the mental ill people. That's why I brought a lot of people. We mix together, eat together, dance together, and dance together.
Looking into the future, he wants to construct a mental home for mental challenge in the region so that their issues will be properly taken care of.
We have gotten support from individual and organization. As we are speaking now, we have 5,000 blocks at the site. So we are still appealing for the general public or any organization that can come into our aid. Like what JoyNews has been doing, the support that they have been giving to us, we can pay them back. If they quantify it, we can pay them back. We are still appealing to individuals to come to our aid and support us in, either material or in cash to put this structure for the mental ill people.
Our Power Soldier Commander of the Narcotics Control Commission, Isaac Bakuri, called on the public to be more compassionate with mental health patients and prioritize their concerns for solutions.
Addressing drug abuse and mental illness is a multifaceted challenge that requires the involvement of all segments of our society. The youth, families, NGOs like the Bahas Foundation are essential stakeholders in this endeavor. As we commemorate International Mental Health Day, let us renew our commitment to creating a healthier, more compassionate Upper West region where mental health is prioritized.
A view shared by Personal Assistant Political to the Upper West Regional Minister, Abdurrahman Megoro.
It is incumbent upon all of us to, as a matter of fact, share some love. Give our brothers and sisters some level of inclusion. And also for us to expunge stigmatization of this challenge that bedeviled us. You can find yourself in the rain, you would feel the rain, but you are not the rain. That is essentially to tell us that for those of us who are contracted with these forms of ailment, it is not a permanent condition. You can find yourself in it today, and tomorrow, God willing, you will be freed from it.
Upper West Regional Director of Gender, Charity Baturi, however, wants women to take the lead in the upbringing of their children.
We are calling on all parents, especially the mothers, to focus on our children. If not, we are going to lose a lot of our human resource to this unfortunate situation, which will not help us in terms of our development. So being here today as a Department of Gender, we are interested in the well-being of our women, our children, and all people in our community. So it's a collaborative work we are doing with Bahas Foundation to ensure that our homes, there's sanity, there's safety, and there's good health for everybody.
Rafiq Salam with that report from YNA Studios in Kokomlemle and Bernice Abubeidulansa. Coming up shortly with Emma Bright Davis. Government says it expects inflation to drop further in the coming months. Do stay for details.
Welcome to the business segment on News Desk. My name is Emma Davis. Government says it expects inflation to drop further in the coming months as some of its policies impact positively on food policies. Inflation for the month of September fell to 38.1% from the 40.1% recorded in August 2023. According to figures from the Ghana Statistical Service, both food and non-food inflation went down. There's more in this report. We'll bring you that story later, but we can now hear from the Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam, who has been reacting to the latest inflation figure.
Oh, we certainly have made progress because we are paying some of the arrears, and then also under the fund program, we have developed an arrears clearance plan. That detailed out how much arrears will clear every year for the next 5 years. and we are following that. The minister appointed me to chair the committee on the clearance of areas, and the committee has been meeting and discussing all the strategies we need to put in place to ensure that the areas clearance plan is implemented effectively. And then also when it comes to the energy sector areas, I'm sure you know that we are discussing with them to restructure the areas, and I'm very confident that we will reach an agreement on that.
Honorable Fanale, I know that when it comes to the financial sector cleanup, there are still some who are yet to receive their payment. Is going on the Gold Coast Farm Management. And what is government doing to some of these concerns out there, and what is government doing about it here?
I'm sure you passed through the
before I came here, yes, of course,
over the Gold Coast securities issue. Well, this matter is in court, and I don't know if I'm competent to speak on that. What I do know is that the Securities and Exchange Commission is involved in this matter, and under the direction of the Minister for Finance, I've invited the leadership of our citizens, our compatriots who are picketing, for a meeting tomorrow, so we can listen to their concerns and engage SEC and all other relevant agencies to see how we can bring a solution.
And is the hope that some progress will be made, Honorable?
Yes, I'm very confident.
Catch the full interview at 9 p.m. on PM Business. But then let's go back to our earlier story where government says they expect inflation to drop further in the coming months as some of its policies impact positively on food prices.
Figures from the Ghana Statistical Service reveal food inflation declined to 49.4% from the 51.9% recorded in August 2023. Non-food inflation also decreased to 29.3% from the 30.9% recorded in August 2023. Inflation for locally produced items was estimated at a rate of 37.3%, while that of imported products was 39.9%. However, the month-on-month inflation between August 2023 and September 2023 was 1.9%. Professor Sogakope is government statistician.
The month of September 2023 annual rate of inflation stood at 38.1%, indicating a 2.0 percentage slowdown in the rate of inflation. Despite the slowdown in the rate of inflation, prices of goods and services in Ghana continue to increase, as relative to September 2022, prices of goods and services overall have gone up by 38.1% between September 2022 and September 2023.
He attributes the sharp drop to the tight monetary policy by the Bank of Ghana.
The reason why we put in tight monetary policies is to ensure that we keep inflation rates close to the target that we all have set as a country. And from the presentations that we've been doing, one can only hypothetically say that it's possible that this is what is driving it. For instance, in the month of September 2023, we continue to see a sharper decline in the prices, in the inflation rate of imported items. So relating that to our exchange rate, relating that to other macroeconomic variables, one can hypothetically say that tightening of the monetary policy is what is contributing to it.
But meanwhile, Northeast region recorded the highest inflation rate of 54.4%, while the Ashanti region recorded the lowest inflation rate of 31.2%.
That'll be all for business. My name is Emma Davis. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Joy News Desk continues with Bernice Abubedu.
Thanks so much for your company on this edition of News Desk with me, Bernice Abubedu. A quick update on the ongoing competition at the NSMQ between Opokuwari School versus Tamale Islamic Science and NIFA SHS. OWAS is leading with 24 points currently. Stay with us on our socials for all the updates. But much later at 12:30, we'll bring you another contest between 3 schools. Do stay for more.